Hello, this is Iman and welcome to another Python tutorial. In this video, you will learn about math functions, if statements, and how to make the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion and a Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion. Let's start with math functions. So in Python, you can do some pretty simple math. If you wanted to find what 6 plus 1 was, you can do it if you put it inside of a print statement. Anyway, so that would be 7. Because 6 plus 1 is 7. But if you wanted to make it slightly more complicated, you can just add another number, and you can actually put a parentheses inside of the parentheses, so you can see which one's more important, which one to do first, following PEMDAS. And the answer to this would be 8. And that's what came out. However, if you try to do even more advanced math, like square rooting and stuff like that, you have to write something at the top. From math import. That is the only way you can access these files. So you can make the next one. You can find the absolute value of something now. So FAVS stands for absolute value. So let's say we want to find the value of -7. If we press run down here, it comes out with 7, because that's what the absolute value is. If you wanted to find what two numbers to the power of each other was, you can put POW. Then you can find what 2 to the third power is. That is basically the exponent sign there. So if you press run, the answer should be 8. And lastly, the last function I have is a square root function, where you can find the square root of something. So if I wanted to find the square root of, I don't know, 81, you press run, and it comes out with 9. Those are just a few. You can find some more. If you look up Python math functions, you can find a whole vault of them. This is just importing from Python's libraries. Anyway, next let's look into functions. So you've heard me call some things functions. An example of a function is anything that can do a task. But if you want to do a more advanced function, you can actually have something that does one task, but there's multiple functions doing parts of the task. To do that, to make a more advanced one, you would write def at the top. It should become orange. Then you can name it. You don't need to put an equal sign or anything. Just write electronic, or whatever you want to name yours. I'm naming mine electronics. Then put an open close parentheses and a colon. After that, if you press enter, there's an indent. You should expect that indent, because the indent is what tells you that it's part of that function. that is part of this. If it's not in the indent, it's not part of this function here. So let's say we wanted to write an input function. What is your favorite electronic? And if we wanted to, we could do a whole little story with this little input here, but I'm not doing that right now. But notice when we press run in the corner, it doesn't run. This is because for this type of function, you actually have to call it. You have to call it. So if you write the name of the function, electronics in my case, and then an open close parentheses, it should run if you press run again in the corner. So as you can see, it ran. And that's just a little introduction to functions. Next, we're going into if statements. This is kind of where the computer makes a choice, like, or it follows directions, kind of. Let me just show you something. So, let's say we were writing something like this. Is hungry is equal to true. And notice it doesn't indent, just like the functions. This basically means the same thing. Whatever is in the indent is part of that if statement, that part of it. This is basically what happens if is hungry is true. If is hungry is true, I print out, can we eat lunch? If it's not, or you would write else, colon, and notice that has an indent too, you would write, and now this is what would happen if it wasn't true. I'm not hungry. So, let's say we ran this program. If we ran this program, then it would print out, can we eat lunch? Because that is what's true. Like, up here it says, is hungry is true. The if statement is basically, if is hungry is true, print out, can we eat lunch? But if it's not true, print, I'm not hungry, can we skip lunch? If we change this value up here to false, then it would go with the second option. I'm not hungry, can we skip lunch? And that's what happens. This is a basic if statement. You can do more stuff with if statements, but this is just a little basics, bit of the basics. And now I'm going to show you how to do a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion and a Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion on Python. So first I'm going to show you how to do a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. First you have to get the user's number, or whatever number they want to start out with, what number they want Fahrenheit to be start out with. So you get the user's input, here input is equal to, oh, not equal to, please enter a number for Fahrenheit, where the user gets to choose which number Fahrenheit is. Like, if the number is 32 or not. And we're making that equal to a variable, so we can use it in an equation that's coming up. So, Celsius. Because we're converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius, we would write in int Fahrenheit minus 32. And also, it doesn't matter whether there's spaces or not. Doesn't matter at all. And then times 5 divided by 9. And then, if we wanted to print this out, we could write print. And, we would write another parentheses because we need to make sure that computer knows that the Celsius, the word Celsius, is a string. Anyway, so you would press run in that corner up there. And the only reason that gave an error was because I accidentally did the parentheses this way instead of this way. So try not to make that the same mistake I did. So if we press run, it should work. So please enter a number. It's working. So I'm going to enter 32. And it's 0 because if the Fahrenheit temperature is 32, the temperature in Celsius is 0. And that's just Fahrenheit to Celsius. In my next video, I will show you how to do a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion and how to do a whole function where you can choose whether to do Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Thank you.